Hey, yo, guys, welcome back to Around the Leagues. That's right, the band is back together. Big K, we got Luke on the other side here. Welcome back to Around the Leagues. Luke, it's been a minute. How you doing?
Yeah, it's been longer than I expected, but we're back. Just had some time off. Took some time off.
Yeah,
Watched some games, I guess.
yeah, did some stuff,
Did some stuff here and there.
Yeah,
Dropped out of school, maybe. Technically, I guess Ball State kind of dropped the ball on that one. Guess I'm technically not a student. But we're here. We're good. We're rolling.
still got grad student in the bio, just
Hell yeah, just in case. I'm still technically a student, but still technically also not a student. Uh,
big
hey,
facts.
got you know college basketball. We're in conference tournament time. NFL drafts coming up. Baseball's coming up. Fans are in the stands. Don't like that, but hey, it is what it is. I guess you can't really
Yep.
go back now. Uh, NBA season just got done with the All Star break, or I guess we just started the All Star break. The game was last night. Dog shit. Um, yeah, I mean everything's rolling. UFC's rolling. Hockey's rolling. Even though
Yeah,
I've really not paid one lick of attention except for the Lake Tahoe games because those were badass.
those were pretty
Uh,
sweet.
but yeah, I mean, just got some,
Well,
got.
I mean, we could start with hockey. The Leafs, baby, number one in the league. Let's go.
Oh,
President
handing
Cup.
that. I forgot that 2021 we're just giving out mid-season number 1 trophies.
Hey,
Uh,
I'm just saying. I'm just saying they're number one in the league right now. They'd win the President's Cup.
yeah, well, hey,
Some
there's still.
people some people are like, well, you guys play in a terrible all Canadian division that has the worst defense and some of the worst goaltenders. Okay, what about your team? How many goals you putting up a night? Not that many. It's because you suck. That's why.
Yeah, dude, don't even. Yeah, like, dude, hockey. Pfft, been watching that for years.
Same.
I can tell you
Same.
right now, the number 3 team in the East is Washington, and they're balling, or they're pucking, I guess you would say. And the Bruins, they're brewing it out.
And we hate the Bruins.
I've watched maybe 2 periods of hockey. I watched the Flames and the whoever they lost to the other day. It was 3-2. They had the puck with like 8 seconds left down near the net. They got sent back over the blue line. That ball game puck game was over. That's about all I've watched. I turned on the Rangers Bruins game like 2 weeks ago, and it was 4-0, and I was like, nah, we don't need to watch hockey. All right, we're fine. It's not our year. The Rangers are expected to make a push. The 50 whatever, no, that was for next year. Okay. I was just teasing you a little bit. They're gonna be fine next year.
It is kind of bad how bad they have been this year because they've got a lot of talent on that team and they've had a really disappointing season.
It's all about shaping the future.
I mean,
Got
I guess
got some run, some
that's
skate, as
been
they say.
that's been Dolan's mindset for years. Just future, baby.
Hey, but the next future might already be now.
Hey,
They have an
we
all-star. They're like fourth in the East. Well, shout out to the Eastern Conference for sucking balls.
hey better than
Uh,
the Pacers though.
yeah, Pacers are bad. The
Well,
Pacers are very bad.
if you guys recall our preseason show with Rhett, we were talking about hey, it's going to be a bad year for the Knicks as always. Probably going to, get a top 10 pick, and there's still plenty of time for that. But they would be hosting a playoff series should the season end today.
Yeah, that's
That is
wild. And
crazy.
it's like I believe the Warriors are the number 9 spot right now in the West, and they would be the 4 in the East.
Crazy.
The men, I think the Grizzlies are the 10 spot in the West, and they'd be the 5 in the East.
I
I
can
mean,
believe
the,
it.
the 5 spot in the East, I believe, is under 500, which is just mind blowing. The Pacers, I think, right now are ninth or 10th, and they're 2 games under 500, but they're
Yeah.
only like a game and a half back of the 4 spot. 4 through 11, just dog shit.
Yeah, it's been a and the Knicks, they have the best defense in the league, right? I mean, you look at their average points per game that they give up. They give up less than 105. There's only one other team in the league that gives up less than 110, or maybe the Jazz and the Lakers give up less than 110, but no other team gives up less than 105. The problem is the Knicks' offense is absolutely putrid. They average 102 points a game, by far the worst in the league. They can't score the ball. The only thing that has saved them and has got them a winning record so far this year has been their defense. Their defense, I mean, they have had 120 points dropped on them maybe twice this year. Once was opening night against the Pacers, and I want to say the other one was to like the Clippers. And it's like over 30-something games, that's not bad.
You'll take it. And it sucks because they've been without Mitchell Robinson for the last few weeks with I think it's a broken hand.
Something like that, yeah.
But he should be back relatively soon. I mean, that's a big piece. That's your defensive anchor and your rebounder.
Yeah,
but Julius Randle's been insane for them. We always expect him to be this when he was drafted, and he's finally hitting his stride, which whether that's just playing in New York or getting a fresh start or what. But, I mean.
Well, and I think it also Tom Thibodeau has just turned that culture around. I mean, he's got those boys playing hard. I mean, Nerlens Noel. Before this year, when was Nerlens Noel ever talked about?
College.
Never. I'm about to say never, really.
Tore his ACL in college was like the last time you really heard anything about him.
Exactly. And it's like you really didn't hear anything about him much this year until Mitch Robinson got injured. And then once they kind of changed the lineup around and Noel got more playing time, Noel's been a serviceable piece this year.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you look at D. Rose, he comes back into New York. He's been a good upgrade. Emmanuel Quickley, he's been really good coming off of the bench. R.J. Barrett, he's a top 20 defensive player in the league.
He's done really well. I mean, I've only watched him against the Pacers, and he seems to always just light up the scoreboard for whatever reason. Can't shoot outside of Banker's life, but when he's on that floor, he's unstoppable.
There is one glaring weakness on the team, and if they could fix it, that team would probably be a top 4 team in the East for sure. They have to upgrade the 3 spot. Reggie Bullock, as big of a draw and as much as he helps your team out, Reggie Bullock he shouldn't be the starting 3 in a top 4 conference team. You know, he's not that great defensively. I mean, he's very limited in what he can do. If the Knicks, there's been a lot of media talk because, the media has finally jumped on are the Knicks decent again bandwagon? It's like, there's been a lot of talk of people trying to trade to get to the Knicks. And it's like, I don't necessarily buy that. Well, I think there's got to be a lot more work done before New York becomes a viable option for a lot of these guys. Like, if you're going to choose New York, you'll choose the Nets just like Blake Griffin did, right? Yeah. You'll choose LA. You'll choose some of these other places because the Knicks, they're still pretty unstable relatively.
I mean, they're the 4 seed, but they're not like I wouldn't say they're like a threat. They're not good. They're just they're floating atop a dog shit pack right now.
If you can score 108 over a playoff series against the Knicks, you're probably going to sweep them. just because you can't, like, the Knicks just will not reliably score triple digits, let alone 108. I mean, their offense is just putrid. But if they could find a 3 who could play some solid defense and just even contribute 14 a night. It doesn't have to be a 20, 25 per game score like Devin Booker. Just someone like a Rudy Gay, for instance. A point forward, just someone who can play some really good top 10 level defense, someone who will give you consistent points. It doesn't have to be much, but if they could just get over that 105 per game average, that team would be, they would be one of the top teams in the East.
Yeah. And I know they've been shopping Kevin Knox. They're looking to get rid of him. I don't know what it would take, but I think for a team like Indiana, that makes sense to try to go after a flyer on him because you don't have that wing depth. And even if he's not good, you're not giving up. They have like 3 second-round picks this year. Use them. Go get somebody that can contribute. Yeah. And with the Knicks, like, who was I'm drawing a blank right here. Hang on. Oh, like, I don't know if you've heard or not, but Devin Booker and Damian Lillard are forcing their way to New York this season. I mean, ESPN is pushing that hard.
Yeah, and
Like,
it's not going to happen. Let's
they're
keep
like Devin Booker's out here, wins a game
living his
against
best
the
life.
Lakers, knocks them off, becomes a 2 seed in the West going into the All-Star break, is named an All-Star, and then it's, he should go to the Knicks. Why? He's playing with Chris
Exactly.
Paul. DeAndre Ayton's having a very good year. He's bouncing.
Yeah.
I mean, he's kind of becoming the number one pick we expect him to, or that he was when he was drafted. Suns are really good. They're not a fake threat out of the West at all. Damian Lillard's not leaving Portland unless you pry him away. I mean, he is not walking out of there. He's not demanding his way out, especially go to the Knicks, who I don't think have a better record than Portland. They don't have C.J. McCollum. I mean, you can have Dame time. Guess what? He's on NBA TV like 3 times a week. He gets enough airtime, okay? He's not worried about playing on, MSG, whatever, whatever that network is.
Yeah.
Listen, the Knicks are good. The Knicks they're playing better than we expected them to. And credit to them for doing so. But they're not – I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, man, they're going to win a playoff series. They're going to be a threat this year. Maybe not even next year because there's still so many question marks about the future. But they are setting themselves up. They are showing that they can win what they have.
And, it's interesting to mention that because they have the Mavericks first-round pick, right? And the Mavericks have not been playing up to expectations this year.
Right.
So let's say that the Knicks do fall off in the second half of the season. They finish with a 72 game schedule this year. Let's say they finish like 30-42. It would be really impressive if they did that because that means they'd have to play some 200, some 280 ball for the rest of the year. But they played 280 ball for the last 10 years. So
yeah,
I mean it's possible. But the Mavs could also legitimately have a top 10 pick, which would go to the Knicks. And there's a lot of talent in this upcoming draft. The Knicks, if they could hit on just one of the 2 picks, that team would be looking really good. And you're not going to get a Damian Lillard there this year. You're not getting a Devin Booker there this year. I mean, I think this upcoming offseason, they're going to have a ton of draft salary cap. But the problem is that there's really nobody to go after, right? All of the big name, except Kawhi, all of the big name guys have re-signed long-term deals. You're not getting Giannis. You're not getting, Jimmy Butler. You're not getting LeBron James. You're not getting any of these guys. I mean, Kawhi Leonard isn't leaving LA. The only reason you leave Toronto, which had just won the world title, and they were set up to do so again for a second straight year had he stayed. The only reason he left is because he wanted to go home, right? And so you're not going to take him from LA and move him to New York. That's further away to LA than what Toronto was. So you're not getting Kawhi. You're not getting any of these A-plus talents. But the thing is you build enough of these B-plus talents. I mean, Julius Randle, B-plus guy, right? I mean, you might say he's A- since he was an all-star. I mean, he's averaging a double-double this year, 6 assists. But you're not that is your ceiling of the 2021 Knicks in terms of talent is Julius Randle, right?
Right.
You're not getting anyone better than that. So why don't you just upgrade what you're already good at? You have Reggie Bullock, who is a defensive liability and he's not producing enough offense to warrant him being an every night starter at the 3. Go get you someone defensively minded. So, if you can shut down the opponent's best player and, if you can keep the games 95-91, the Knicks have a very good chance of winning a lot of those games. If you have to get into a 112-108 scrap, the Knicks are going to lose those 9 out of 10 times. We've seen it all year.
And I just looked it up because I wasn't sure. That Mavericks pick being unprotected is, first of all, never trade an unprotected first-round pick. But second, they still get their pick. Again, I think it's top 10 protected in, 2023?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Knicks have so much ammo. Imagine they say the Mavericks just suck and the Knicks are decent. And they get into the playoffs enough to, there could be a threat. They somehow bullshit their way, win the lottery. They get Cade Cunningham with Emmanuel quickly. Knicks are good.
Yeah.
And I mean, it might take another year. I mean, you're not going to expect a rookie to be like an absolute game changer right away, but like Cade Cunningham's insane. I think he's going to have a similar impact to what LaMelo's having right now with Charlotte. And then but he's in New York. He's in the mecca of basketball. So.
And remember, how much fun we poked at the Knicks at the time. We weren't doing the podcast yet, but we were up at Wabash poking so much fun at the Knicks trading Kristaps Porzingis, Tim Hardaway for cap space. And the draft picks were just a little extra that were thrown on. But that was when they were expecting to sign KD, Kyrie, get Zion with the one. That was what was going to change it around. And it's like, now that they have a competent head coach, they have a bunch of young players on their team. They're not playing with 38-year-old Amari Stoudemire and Carmelo and all that. They got a young team. They got picks. And thankfully, Kristaps Porzingis hasn't been an A-level player for the Mavs. If Kristaps Porzingis is an all-star for the Mavs, that team is probably a top 6 team in the West, and we're not even having this conversation. But Porzingis not being the type of player that everyone has expected him to be recently, that makes that trade look a lot more palatable for the Knicks.
Right, and that's what's always scary about trades. Like, you give up so much to get a player, and then as soon as it doesn't work out, you're automatically, thrown under the bus because, how do you trade all that for nothing? So, well, I mean, I get why the Mavericks did it, but it just isn't working out. But they've always been really high on bigs who are just tall. I mean, They've got Boban, whatever, and they've got Dwight Powell. They've always liked him. I mean, he's another guy. They know what they want in their centers, and they kind of go after it. And then Porzingis was just an elevated version of that, and they gave up everything to go get him. Luka, I mean, this dude's insane. He just doesn't have the help around him. They're not going to be good with just one guy. I mean, he's also 23, so you're expecting quite a lot out of a young guy. Might not even be that old. But yeah, Knicks can definitely make a lot of noise this offseason, and the next few. Pacers not going to do anything. They're not going to get a lot better. They're not going to draft well. I don't see them. I mean, they're going to maybe get in the lottery if they don't make the
It's funny you mentioned that. So let's talk about the Pacers draft pick Cassius Stanley getting absolutely robbed last night in the dunk contest.
Let's be honest. The dunk contest wasn't good.
No, it was not.
His first dunk, first of all, he dunked it through the leg he jumped off of, which is not easy to do. He jumped off his left, went through his left, threw it down with his left hand as a right-hander. His head was at the rim. He got a 44. I'm like, okay, these must be tough judges.
And then,
bullshit, Anthony Simmons goes up and just grabs a ball off the top, the middle of the backboard and dunks it.
And that's a 46.
Gets a 46. It was like an alley-oop, but there was no pass. He just caught the ball and dunked it. It was crazy. Whoa, okay, 46.
No. Cassius Stanley had the best dunk of the night last night, and it wasn't even close.
I don't even know what Toppin's first dunk was.
It was the one where he bounced it off the floor real hard.
Legs, and then caught it and threw it out in reverse.
That was kind of...
They went between the legs before, in the air. Toppin did it as he caught the ball, as he was jumping. And he's 6'9", so of course he's going to be able to do it. Why did he get a 48?
Yeah.
And it just didn't make sense. And then, of course, Stanley, he missed his second attempt because he had to do all this extra shit.
Because he got a 44.
He had to get a 50. And even if he got a 50 that second round, he wasn't moving on because Toppin missed a dunk and then did the same dunk and got a 46 on the second attempt.
Yep.
So he automatically was going to beat Cassius regardless. So he had to go all out and try to get a 50. It didn't happen because he missed it. Stanley got robbed. It was bad.
It really should have been Toppin versus Stanley in the finals. And with the way the finals played out last night, Toppin's between the legs from one step within the free throw line was – I thought it was so much better than Anthony Simmons pretending to kiss the rim.
Yeah, he was
3 feet
4
away.
inches from it. He was
okay.
What?
It's more. I mean, it's impressive if you throw it down essentially on your head, but whenever you're kissing it and then no, that's trash.
And Toppin he's obviously a stupid athlete, but yeah, he dunked it. He went between the legs. It wasn't from the free throw line. It was a good couple feet inside the free throw line.
It was a step in, yeah.
It was just between the legs, straight on dunk, and it got a higher score than Stanley's left-handed between the legs off the bounce.
Yeah.
Like, I do you want to argue that? Oh, it's because he's a Knicks guy. Like, oh, we got to talk about. Everybody's like, well, it's because Stanley's a rookie. He's got to earn the stripes. Toppin's a rookie.
Yeah.
Like that's a dumb argument. And they're like, oh, well, Toppin he jumped higher. No, he didn't. Stanley literally is shorter and got higher up.
Yep.
Like Stanley got. I mean, I'm obviously it comes off as like, oh, you're a Pacers fan. You got to. Nah, Stanley had the best dunk of the night, and he got.
It wasn't close. I mean. And if you're, like I said, if you're just judging the two final dunks, like which one was better, Toppin had the better one, and Anthony Simmons ends up winning the contest. I don't know. It was a real bad. I didn't like the format last night. Granted, they did it during halftime of the game.
Yeah, it was definitely tough to work around, but
yeah, I mean, if they do that on Saturday night, they'll probably do the 4 with the 2 dunks each round. Score. I mean, it was tough to sit through and watch last night. I mean. No.
They got to get these judges out of here. Josh Smith, hey, listen, you were good for a while with the Hawks, all right? You're not judging a dunk contest ever again. That was bad. But, hey.
Maybe they can wake Nate Robinson up and he can judge it. He knows what it takes to win. So.
That is true. 3-point contest was exhilarating. They added the new, 3-point shot. Like the Steph range shot, and of course he used that to his advantage.
Yeah.
Mike Conley out here balling. Didn't expect him to be an absolute wetter from outside. And then Steph, oh my God, Steph was toying with him so bad. He's out here. First round just flies through it, drops 31.
Yeah.
Highest ever, but of course it's going to change every year because they add new shots and new points and whatever. Then he comes down second round. He misses the first 4 in the championship. It's like, oh man, he needs 27 to tie, 28 to win. Breaks the first 4. Oh shit, he's going to miss. And then he is nothing but net. Every shot.
Yeah.
He starts rolling. He smacks the 40-footer, drains it, he gets to the final rack. He misses one shot because he knows that money ball, it's going to go for the win. He's at 26. He needs a 27 to tie. Misses the one, hits it, gets 26. It's money ball. Didn't even move the net. Dude just dropped it right in the bucket.
Yeah.
Ball. I mean, Steph's unreal. You're never going to see another shooter like him.
Was that the first win he had? It was the 7th contest. Was that his first win?
Second
win. I mean, it's amazing he doesn't win that contest every year. If there was ever a contest designed for one guy, that would be it.
Yeah. And Mike Conley, I mean, he did really well because it was no legs. His jump shot's all upper body. He's not wearing himself out. And dude was cashing them.
Oh yeah. No, and I was really surprised at how well he did, especially in the finals. I mean, he really put that pressure on Steph. Mm-hmm. I mean, you had Jason Tatum go for 18 or something like that, and it was like, that's not going to win it.
Yeah, because Tatum came out first round, and he had 25, and I'm like, damn, Tatum can shoot. And then, I mean, he wore out quick. He bricked everything to start that second round.
Yeah.
But that was good.
And it's funny, because we've always talked about LeBron James never doing the dunk contest, and it's like, oh, he's above it. It's like Michael did it. Why doesn't LeBron? It's like Steph's done the 3-point contest 7 times. It's like, is it a gimmicky thing? Yeah, but it's like he's only won it twice, and nobody thinks of him as any less of a shooter. You know?
Yeah,
what I mean?
I think the only difference is with a guy like LeBron, it's like you don't control anything in the dunk contest. It's all what the judges pick. And I know John Morant said that today. He said, I'm not going to do a dunk contest because the judges put so much emphasis on just random,
making it the first time.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what I do. It's all with how they view it. And whereas the 3-point contest and the skills competition, it's literally who wins because it's a contest. It's
an objective.
Yeah, and with I wish they still had that shooting stars. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
Where they would have it was a current player, a former player, and a WNBA player, I believe, from the same city. And it was like what, layup, free throw, 3-point line, half court. He had whoever got it in the shortest amount of time won. That was always a fun competition, and then they just went away with it and they added something else. But I mean, that one was always fun. I wish they would bring that back. I'll be interested to see what they do next year. Very interested also the jerseys for the game. Well, for the theme of the whole thing was still Pacers related because it was supposed to be in Indy this year. They still wore like the old school Pacers colors and the same like style on the jersey. And they go out there and it's in Atlanta. So now in 3 years they got to just recycle that same thing when it's back in Indy. Don't know how that's going to work out, but
that'll
whatever.
Be fun.
Cross that bridge when we get there. But
speaking of Indy and things that are going to be held in Indy, the NCAA tournament is starting next week. And, thankfully for us Indiana guys, it's all here in Indiana.
Yeah.
So, I mean, sucks for all you other guys.
But hey, you know, it's all in Indiana except for the Hoosiers because fuck Archie Miller. I'll get to that. But, yeah, like, IU sucks. Tournament's going to be, I think Selection Sunday's this coming Sunday.
I believe so.
14th, and then tournament starts I think it's the 19th is the first round. Well, so it'll be the 17th, 18th is the play-in games. 19th, 20th is the first round. And hey, while we're here, we're going to have a bracket for you. We'll figure out some sort of way to have like a competition with it. Everybody can join in, have a little contest. Going to be real easy because I know who I'm picking. It's not even close. My Final Four is almost locked already. I've got 3 of my 4 that I know are making it, assuming the bracket falls in the right way. But yeah, I mean,
you got Gonzaga winning it.
Yeah, there's nobody else even in the question for me right now.
You think they go undefeated?
Yeah, they have. I do not know a single time this year they've even been close.
So let me ask you this: should they go undefeated? Is there going to be an asterisk next to their undefeated record?
No.
No asterisks in a COVID year.
College basketball I've seen in a long time.
So no asterisks on a COVID year.
No, look who they beat. They blew out Kansas. They blew out West Virginia.
Yeah.
They blew out. Hang on.
Baylor was scared to play them. They all got COVID. Decided, no, we don't want the smoke.
Dude, for real. Gonzaga, their margin of victory this year is like 94-68 or something like that on average.
That's pretty good.
You don't average 24. They beat Kansas by 12. They beat Auburn by 23.
But that was pre-Sharif.
Listen, don't care. Don't care. Beat West Virginia. Baylor game got canceled. They put 99 on Iowa. Beat Virginia by 23. And then they got into conference play, which their conference play kind of sucks. But, St. Mary's is always their biggest threat. Beat them by 22. And they beat them by 14 in the first one. I mean, this team does not lose. They just beat Loyola by 17. They got St. Mary's in the, conference title game?
They're already playing their title game?
Maybe. It says they're the 4 seeds. That must be the semifinal. But dude, this Gonzaga team is unreal, and they're only going to be they're going to have their first one and done in a while, probably with Jalen Suggs.
Yeah.
Them, Baylor, and Michigan are the only teams I think have a legit chance this year, and I think Gonzaga is a good 2 steps above those other squads. They are so unreal this year.
It's funny because they have so many good players on their team that really aren't being talked about enough as elite NBA prospects, like Corey Kispert, wet from downtown.
Dude, he's 40-something%?
Yeah, just absolutely wet.
He's got a wetter, bro.
Drew Timme, inside, that boy's backing you down. What do you do? What are you doing with him? You know?
I've watched I watched all of their games against top 20 opponents this year, and you just walk away how did they dick these teams? Bad.
Yeah.
And you don't expect that from Gonzaga because they always seem to kind of fall apart later in the tournament. I don't have any questions about them this year.
Yeah, I was about to say, this isn't your granddaddy's Bulldogs team.
Dude,
This isn't Adam Morrison
good.
in the Final Four. This is
No, like I preseason I put $10 on Gonzaga, and I'm so ready to cash in. I think Michigan's going to be scary, but they just lost to Michigan State, and they almost lost a couple weeks ago to somebody else. I can't remember who. Baylor is scary. They just beat the shit out of Texas Tech last night, I'm pretty sure. But their head coach has come to IU, so we're fine. But yeah, I mean, if you want to pick a safe bet, you go Gonzaga. If you want to play a little risky, pick a team like UConn. Who cares? You know,
really any team on the 2 line or below. That's a risky pick this year.
And like Ohio State is a sneaky pick. I think they're probably going to be a 2 seed, maybe a 3 seed. Illinois is another good one. I think Illinois is a team that can be in the Final Four. But dude, that's just like Duke's not going to be in it.
It really feels like who is playing for second this year. It really feels like it's Gonzaga in the field. Like if you're gonna make a prop bet, you would pick Gonzaga or the field. Like
and like it's weird because like every year you get on there and you see everybody pick Gonzaga to win because they're like, they're like a high 2 seed, maybe a low 1 seed. They're gonna be they're an underdog. They're not the high favorite. They're gonna win it. And then you know that all those teams, all those guys lost. They didn't win their bracket because like they picked Gonzaga. This year, you better have Gonzaga as your final spot because that team's going to ball. And if they don't ball, I'm going to be real sad. 1, because I'm losing out on a lot of money. And 2, because, like, it's a weird year. Anything can happen. Obviously, that's how the tournament is. But, like, I just feel so confident that this team's going to just dominate the tournament. But,
no, I feel that.
And I hope they come to Assembly Hall, and I hope they show you what it's like to be a good basketball team. Because one team who's really not good, and I understand how you're this bad. You're in the state of Indiana.
Do they play at Assembly Hall?
Oh, yeah. Simon Scott Assembly Hall, baby. Hometown of these bitch asses. Dude, you're in the state of Indiana. Home of Hoosiers, dude. The movie Hoosiers, bro. It's all about shooting, you got to have fundamentals to play at IU. You got to know how to shoot the ball and pass as a team and play good defense. IU does one of those things. They play decent defense. You wonder how many teams in the NCAA right now shoot a higher free throw percentage than Indiana?
How many?
281. There are 281 Division I basketball programs who shoot better than 66% from the free throw line. 66.
That's pretty good. I mean, that's a D.
Mind blowing. Yeah.
That's a D.
Yeah. IU averages, I think, 71 points a game. They're averaging like 52 in conference play. It's horseshit. They're bad. You know how many teams score more than 73 points a game at the D1 level? 185.
That's a lot.
185, dude. They're 182nd in three-point percentage, but they shoot at a stupid rate. Every single day you're watching their game, and you're like, let's check this. I use like 40% from the field, 2 of 33 from three-point line. Hey, maybe just stop. Maybe go into the post. Maybe don't shoot a 28-footer with your – because Rob Finney's out here bricking everything. They had a game – I believe it was Michigan State. They lost by like 5. Trace Jackson Davis had 34 points. The other forward was Ray Thompson, I believe. He had like 15, and Amon Franklin had 12 or 13.
Yeah.
The other 5 guards who played that game had 2 points on 0 of like 13 shooting, with like 2 assists and 8 turnovers. Dude, you were a guard at one of the blue-collar, blue-chip programs in college basketball, and you can't score or pass? And he was Rob Finney was like a 4.5, 5-star recruit. Dude is not good. Whatever. We'll get there. We're fine. They're going to get Chris Beard or Dane Five or whoever. Just get somebody in there. Get Archie out. Archie sucks. I don't care that he took Dayton to a semi-decent record a couple times. Okay? Dude sucks. Can't recruit. Can't coach. All he does is bitch to the refs all game because his offense sucks. But hey, we're fine. We're fine. They went like 7-12 in Big Ten play this year. They're gonna go out there and get their dicks rocked in the Big Ten tournament. Probably gonna lose to like Rutgers in the first round because.
Well, I was gonna say, what do they need to do in the Big Ten tournament to make the tournament? Because it's gonna be, I was about to say, it's gonna be pretty damning if they have a NCAA tournament hosted exclusively in Central Indiana, and the Hoosiers are not participating.
I mean, dude, it's bad. Oh, it's so bad.
It does kind of suck that they're not playing down here in Evansville because it would be kind of cool to see an NCAA game at the Ford Center. But man, I mean, Evansville's not making the tournament, obviously. You know, so I guess they have no reason to use the Ford Center, but it is what it is.
I'm trying to find this damn bracket. Here we go. They're the 10 seed, which isn't good. They get the first round bye because Penn State sucks, I'm pretty sure they beat Penn State in overtime. Oh, look at that. They play goddamn Rutgers like I predicted. They're going to get their shit kicked in by Rutgers. And if they beat Rutgers, well, guess who they get? Illinois, who they took to overtime, and they goddamn lost. They win that, they get Iowa. Now, that's where things get interesting. They beat Iowa twice this year. Now we're talking. All right, if they beat Rutgers, Illinois, Iowa, that's 3 pretty good wins. And then, bam, you get Michigan or Purdue? Yeah, give us Michigan. Fuck Michigan.
If they get to the final, they get to the finals, is that enough to get them a bid?
Man, I don't know. It'll be close. I doubt it, but...
See, because I'm a Louisville guy, and Louisville is right there on the bubble. I mean, they are riding that bubble about as hard as you can. And I don't know. I think they're like the 7, maybe the 8 seed in the ACC tournament. And I really think they got to make a semifinal run to secure a spot.
Who's the 1 seed?
In the ACC?
Yeah. Is it Florida State?
I want to say it is.
Let me see. I have not paid much attention.
Virginia? I don't think it's Virginia.
Let's see. Louisville's the 7. Virginia's the 3. Florida State's the 2. Virginia is the 1.
Got it.
Wait. This one says Virginia's number 1, and this one says Virginia's number 2.
Huh.
Wait. They fucked up. Virginia Tech's the 3. Virginia's the 1.
Got it.
For Georgia Tech is a 4. Oh, Louisville's gonna get Duke. They'll beat Duke, and then they'll get Florida State.
Duke the 10?
Yeah. Duke versus Boston College, baby.
That's not an easy
Miami,
game for Duke.
Start this from the top 25. Oh my God! What a bad year in the ACC. North Carolina's North Carolina's even projected to get in the tournament, or they're on the bubble, I think. Holy shit! What a wild year.
I mean, it'll be really nice. It'll be really nice to see a mid-major win this NCAA tournament. You know, it really feels like if there's any year for a 12 seed to win the tournament, this would be it. But it's like,
who are the best mid-majors this year?
Gonzaga.
Oh, I guess you would technically call them mid-major. But, like, are they? They're a powerhouse.
They play in the West Coast Conference.
Yeah, but, like, I feel like then Villanova and Marquette get a pass. Because those are expected to be blue bloods.
Okay. So if we're ruling those guys out.
I'm talking. When I think mid-major, I think, like, Creighton, which
Loyola.
They're not doing. Loyola, Mount St. Mary's, BYU, maybe.
No, they're
not
bad.
really.
They're bad.
Butler's always in that conversation, but they're not good. Xavier.
Dayton was good last year, but they're not good this year.
Yeah, well, they don't have Archie Miller anymore. That's probably why.
Well, I was gonna say Obi Toppin, but. You know.
Yeah, I mean
last year.
it's going to be a good year. I want to see Lenardi's projections. Bracketology. Bro, I had shrimp today.
You know, it is really crazy though, because if Dayton would have played the NCAA tournament last year, there was a decent chance they could have won it.
Yeah.
That team was so good last year.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
It's kind of wild. Like, wasn't it like this time last year when we did our emergency podcast with Rudy Gobert shutting down the world?
Yeah, pretty much.
Man, what we knew then compared to what we knew now, you know? Damn.
Come on, man. I want to see the bracket. Utah State. Fuck out of here.
It does kind of suck, though, this year with the games because the first round is on Friday, Saturday instead of Thursday, Friday. And so it's like, man, that Thursday of opening day of the tournament, that day is so much fun.
Yeah.
There's nothing like being in school or working, and then you got 4 games pulled up, and you're like, oh, my bracket, this would bust my bracket. Like, there's nothing better.
Ooh, okay. So they have UConn. UConn's projected to be a 90, but they have them in Gonzaga's bracket. They would be a sleeper to watch. Another team I'm really interested to see, LSU and Tennessee, I think are going to be tough because they can both put up mad points.
Yeah.
Wisconsin, don't care. Ohio State, don't care. I like Ohio State. I just don't know if they haven't been able to pull it out lately. That's what she said. Oklahoma State. In Illinois' bracket, I could see that. Alabama's a sneaky one, too. I like Bama. Any mid-majors in here worth a shit? Wichita State? Think 2009, buddy. Toledo? No. Colorado? No. USC is another one that I think they can pull it out.
Yeah, big mid-major school.
Well, I'm just going through everybody at this point.
Southern California.
Man, have you heard of them? They're pretty small. They're like off the radar. Xavier could probably get through first round and then get through Florida State. UC Santa Barbara, no.
Is there any double-digit seeds that could make it to the second weekend?
What's that? Sweet 16?
Yeah.
Because
every year there's a 5-12, right? And it usually seems like a 12 or a 13 makes the second weekend.
Maryland's a 10 that I could see. They may have Houston as a 2. Michigan State, they're not going to be a high seed. They could definitely make a run. Drake is another big one. Drake versus Creighton in the 5-12 is so funny to me. Nobody. That's not an upset. Nobody should win. Neither team should be high. Neither team should be low. Just make that the 8-9. Who gives a shit? Georgia State, nah. Put App State in there. App State's winning that conference. Yeah. I mean, Xavier might be a team if they get through Florida State. Other than that, nothing really pops off right now.
I feel that.
Winthrop, whatever. I mean, Texas Tech, but you never know what you're getting out of them. But it'll be a good year. I mean, obviously the tournament's a fun time. Hopefully, if we have to go golfing in a couple weeks, maybe we can get out there, catch some games on the TVs, you know.
Yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be pretty fun.
But yeah, I'm like excited for this year's tournament because there are some teams I want to see. Like I want to see how Illinois performs. The Big Ten's going to represent in a big way. It should. Is Purdue good? Probably not. Is Ohio State good enough? Probably not. Michigan State, never count them out. They're probably going to make it to the Elite Eight. SEC's going to have a lot of teams. ACC's not. Don't expect that ever in basketball terms. It's exciting. It's whatever. But I guess we'll find out more in about 6 days when we see that new I think the one seeds are going to be Zaga, Baylor, Michigan, and Illinois. But are they going to have 2 Big Ten teams as a 1 seed? That's going to be tricky. But I don't see anybody in the Big 12 being worth a spot.
Other than Baylor.
Well, yeah, I don't. The Pac-12, nobody's worth a shot. Villanova's not going to get up there. Nobody in the ACC is that good. Hell yeah, let's go Big Ten, baby. Best conference
Yeah.
in college sports. Wrestling, football, basketball, soccer.
Oh, yeah. No,
Like,
it's gonna be a fun tournament, especially if Zaga goes into it undefeated and then can make like that second weekend. I think really once you get to that second weekend, like Elite Eight, I think that's when the hype will really start. Like it'll be a, exactly maybe even more so. I think it'll be even more hype than when Kentucky went undefeated going into the Final Four back in the Anthony Davis days. Because
yeah,
I mean I mean back then it really felt like Kentucky was so much higher than the rest too, but it just feels like Gonzaga is head, neck, shoulders, half the torso above the rest of these guys.
yeah,
Like,
and that's not even like the other teams aren't even that bad. Like Baylor's really good, Michigan's really good, but they had a lot of time off. Illinois is really good. Gonzaga, they haven't been tested at all, and they've
yeah,
played some good teams. And I don't know. It's hard to find a game that they could lose. And if they just have a bad night and somebody else has a really like a very 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 good night, that's the only way it could happen.
yeah.
Obviously, that's how it usually goes, but it's what it is.
Well, we'll be looking forward to it. We'll have more details on the bracket thing next week. We'll figure out something to make it fun and interesting for everybody. So stay tuned next week for that. Kind of looking, around the leagues, no pun intended. Uh, NFL. Well, you say you got something cooking here in the next couple
No,
weeks?
I don't. It's not necessarily cooking, but I think um, next week we can do like a full college basketball show since it'll be right after Selection Sunday. Get into the tournament a little bit, talk about that kind of stuff, and then that next week, once the tournament's already going, we're throwing a little mock draft. It's been a while
Ooh,
since I've cared for one. NFL draft is I think it's 7 weeks away right now, 6 or 7. It's the last week of April, so we'll be getting close to that. A lot of stuff to talk about there. Obviously, people out here saying Zach Wilson's quarterback won. Whatever, have your opinion. You're wrong. And then, yeah, gearing in some football stuff. But other than that, I think it's mostly, for now, it's just baseball, basketball, hockey, and UFC when it's on. But I don't keep up with that enough to, like,
yeah,
watch. But, hey, spring training's on, and the Cubs are winning again. Shocker, dude. Shocker.
boy. You guys better enjoy baseball while it lasts this season, because I don't know if there's going to be baseball next year. I mean, especially after that Mariners GM came out and basically said, "Yeah, fuck the players." It really feels like that is going to be a lockout come this time next year.
I'm very excited to not have to deal with that. But hey, I'll put you on the spot a little bit.
Uh,
Last year predictions, right? We went through. We did okay. It was a weird year. Everything got kind of changed like right after we made predictions. I went Marcus Stroman as my Cy Young. He
yep.
opted out. I gotta be true to myself. I'm gonna pick him again. Who cares? All right.
Whew.
Have some fun with it. Marcus Stroman, NL Cy Young.
Yep.
Whatever. I
I
want to.
went
All right.
Jack Flaherty last year, so I didn't do much better.
Yeah, well, at least he played. Uh, I'm gonna see. Give me a bold prediction. Give me like a prediction that you think is pretty obvious that you think is gonna happen. Give me your World Series contender, or give me like your World Series matchup. And let's see, what else can we do here? Yeah, I'll think of something. Give me
All
those.
right, so this will in terms of Cy Young and the NL, I haven't really went through and tried to make out my picks yet. Um, but this is a safe pick. Jacob DeGrom winning. I mean,
Bold.
he probably should have won the Cy Young last year, but I think he got some voters fatigue. Um, this year, if Stroman comes back and plays, if Syndergaard can recover from his Tommy John, I mean, that team is going to be really good. They got who did they sign this offseason that I'm blanking on? Never mind. I was about to say, never mind then. Jacob deGrom, I think he is the best pitcher in the MLB, and I don't want to say it's not close, but it's definitely not like it's not a foot race. Jacob deGrom, he could legitimately win MVP this year. I mean, if you want to give it to Mookie, fine. If you want to give it to insert whoever's not going to win it here, that's fine too.
Tatis.
I mean, Jacob deGrom, if he puts up a 21-5 year with another sub 2.3 ERA, yeah, he's the MVP. Take your favorite player and just tell him, hey, better luck next year. That's the best player in the MLB. And the AL Cy Young, that's a lot tougher to call. Who won last year that I'm blanking on?
Was it Bieber?
Yeah, that's right, Shane Bieber. He's not winning this year. You go ahead and just put your life savings on Shane Bieber not winning the Cy Young this year. You know, a 60-game season really helps you out whenever it comes to that.
Are they playing 162 this year?
I mean, they're in spring training now. I mean, it really feels like they're going to make an attempt. I mean, you have 14, 15 states that are fully open without mask mandates. I really think you're going to see full stadiums before the All-Star break for sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would say it's a pretty safe bet that they play 162. Over a 162-game season, it's just really difficult for any pitcher in the AL East to win the Cy Young just because, one, like, if you're not a Yankees player, you have to play the Yankees. And the Yankees, they score a lot of runs, so that ERA is going up. They win a lot of games, so your win statistics not going to be great. Yeah, so, and for the Yankees, if you're Garrett Cole, it's really hard to win the Cy Young because you're going to be pitching probably over half your games at Yankee Stadium, and it just takes a lazy fly ball to be a homer out there. So your ERA is going up. You know, I just don't trust anyone in the AL East to win a Cy Young. If I had to make a pick out of the AL East, I'd probably pick Ryu out of Toronto. Just because that team, I mean, he's got the offense to give him run support. But again, he's going to be playing the Yankees. I don't know. That's a good question. As we get closer to the season here in a couple weeks, I'll make my full predictions on that. My World Series matchup right now, I mean, the safe pick would be Yankees-Dodgers, but the Yankees haven't made a World Series in over a decade, and the Dodgers have competition in San Diego.
Yep.
So I will say, how about as of right now, and like I said, I'll look more into it and give you an updated prediction here in a couple weeks. Right now, I would say the White Sox and the Dodgers.
I like the White Sox. That's a good pick.
That would be my World Series matchup today.
All right, what's like, whatever it may be, any award or standing or whatever, what's like one like just stupid, bold, outrageous, doesn't make sense prediction you have?
That doesn't make sense?
Yeah, but you think it's going to happen. But you think it is at least possible.
Man, that's a good question. AJ Hinch, Manager of the Year.
Okay, where's he at?
Detroit.
Okay. What do they have to do? Go 350 and he gets it?
Well, I think if he can go 92 and 70, 92 and 70 might put you in hunt for the second wild card. and I think he would be enough of a story. It'd be kind of like Alex Smith with the comeback player of the year. He wouldn't necessarily be the best player or probably the most. I want to say most deserving because Alex Smith was the most deserving, but I would think with the politics and he paid his dues and look what he had to overcome to get back. I could see him winning Manager of the Year. I think he's going to be very much hated, and I'm surprised that the players in Detroit haven't already kicked him the fuck out of their locker room. But I think there's a chance he wins Manager of the Year.
Okay.
Despite being maybe the most hated, other than Jose Altuve, I mean, AJ Hinch may be the most hated player or most hated person in the MLB.
Yeah.
Although Rob Manfred.
Well, yeah, Manfred's definitely he's up there.
Yeah. But AJ Hinch with how cocky and arrogant he was with the whole cheating scandal, saying, "Well, I mean, no, we're not doing it," and then it comes out that you were very clearly doing it. It's like, no. I have no desire to watch him be successful, but I really think he's going to be successful. So.
Yeah. Let's see. For mine, my Cy Young, I'll go Stroman. AL. God, I really don't know who's pitching in the American League this year.
That's kind of why I needed some more time.
I want to go Giolito.
Okay.
Just off the top of my head, that's the one that pops out. This was going to be my bold pick, but it's going to be a World Series pick, so I'm not going to use it twice. I think the Mets get there. Even without Syndergaard, I think the Mets get there. And oh, damn, even over the Dodgers and the Padres? Yep. Shocker. Don't care.
That's a bold pick.
Let's go Mets and the Padres got Blake Snell, didn't they? They don't even need Mike Clevenger. I would have thought that. Fuck. Let's go Mets. Mets Twins. Don't love it, but whatever. I don't even know who's in the there's nobody. No. Fuck it. No, because they lost Hendricks. Hendricks went to the White Sox. The White Sox are legit a good pick. Because I was gonna say the A's. I don't trust them. Nobody.
They lost Simeon too.
Yeah, and they got Elvis Andrews. Big deal.
Yeah.
There's nobody in the West that's good. The only teams in the Central that are worth it are the White Sox and the Twins. The Indians aren't good. Royals aren't good. Tigers aren't good. In the East, it's the Blue Jays and the Yankees. Mets, White Sox. Fuck it. The two little brothers of their cities, they get in. Who cares?
I think with man, it would be tough. In terms of AL MVP, I really think this could be the year LeMahieu wins it for New York. There was a lot of talk of him going to the Mets, and if LeMahieu went to the Mets this year, the Mets would be a legitimate, good pick to win the World Series. Without them, I just think they're one piece away. But LeMahieu, I mean, if he could put up just the same monster numbers he's produced in New York, I think he's going to get a lot of attention this year for MVP.
Yeah. I mean, Trout's always the easy one.
He's like LeBron, though. I mean, it's the voter fatigue. All it takes is for you to be shiny one year, and then it's like, oh, it's that guy, when it really should be Mike Trout.
Yeah.
But, who
won it last year?
Wasn't it Trout?
Abreu?
No, I think it was Mike Trout.
I thought Jose Abreu won it. Hang on. But I mean, yeah, we'll definitely make our more what's the word?
Predictions.
Yeah, our more in-depth actual thought about predictions.
Analysis.
In a couple weeks. But until then, we'll have to do some research because I really don't. I don't even remember who all went where. Jose Abreu won it. But see, my bold prediction, which is kind of vague, but I think the Cardinals don't win the NL Central. I don't know who does, but nobody in that division gave a shit this summer or winter. Nobody made a move.
Yeah.
Reds sold, Cubs sold, Pirates are the Pirates. The Brewers kind of made moves. I think the Brewers are going to win it. I think that's what I'm going to say. I think the Cubs probably make a stupid fight for it, and they don't deserve to. They don't deserve to make the playoffs. Their pitching staff sucks. But I think they can at least fight for the wild card. The Cardinals roster is so overly stacked compared to everybody else in that Central Division, and I don't think it works. I don't think it pays off for them. I think they have to just sit there. Which also, why in the world did the Rockies decide to trade Arenado but also pay like half of his salary? Oh, thanks. You just gave the Cardinals the best third baseman in baseball for nothing.
Yeah.
Like how the Cubs gave the Padres one of the best pitchers in baseball last season away for nothing. But yeah, there's something in me that just said, well, I also hate the Cardinals, but I just don't feel like they win it. I think they choke, and that sucks for them. But actually, it doesn't. The Brewers, I like that pick of the Brewers to win it, to win the division. Don't know why. Don't even know who's on their roster, but I know they have Colton Wong, and I like Colton Wong, so that's my pick. Who was? What else were we talking about? Got to make predictions soon. Playoffs. I don't know what the playoff format is. Don't even care to know. I don't know. I'm like completely blanking on whatever I was getting ready to say. But hey, Mets, baby. Mets, the World Series to the moon. Yeah, that's all I got. Oh, that's what I was going to go with. If you are trying to watch some baseball this year, and you're like, I don't want to watch Major League Baseball, I get it. Dude, watch as many Vanderbilt games as you can. Dude, Vanderbilt is so... Dude, their team is loaded. They've got Kumar Rocker, who's going to go number 1 in the MLB draft most likely this year. They've got Jack Leiter, who's another ace. He's probably going to be a top 10 pick. And then they've got like a 17-year-old that starts for them. Pretty solid, not bad. And they've got another pitcher, I believe, that's expected to go in the first round.
So, and that's another good thing. I'm glad you brought up draft. They got to change something this winter when they do the collective bargaining agreement about free agency being tied to service time. Because the fact that you have people like Jared Kelenic and like these other big name like prospects being held down in the minors, either for the first couple weeks of the season or they just don't play at all for the year, so that way the team can retain another year of service time. It is one of the most absolute dirty dog shit things I've seen. And like, boxing corrupts sport. There's a lot of shadiness in it. That's more shady than that.
Yeah, I mean it's just manipulation. I mean, you have a kid who's like 21, is ready to play in the major leagues, and you say, "Oh, you'll come up on like April 17th." Okay.
Why?
Oh, so you don't play him for 2 weeks, and you get to keep him for cheap for a full season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's so dumb.
And,
it happened to Chris Bryant. It's happened to
Vlad Jr.
Vlad Jr. Yeah, I mean
Ronald Acuna.
I mean it's smart for teams. Oh, and also, dude, shout out to the Braves for signing Acuna and Albies before they were popping, because those dudes were popping.
Yeah.
And they got some money, and then they started popping, and I think Acuna's was like, like $100 million over 8 years or something like that, and Albies was like $35 million over 5 years. Pretty cheap considering Fernando Tatis just signed $400-year, $3 billion contract with the Padres, and he deserves it. I'm not saying he doesn't, but like the Braves were out in front, and they handled it in house before it got big. But also shout out to the Padres for extending Tatis and not taking advantage of all these years they would have had him for cheap. They locked him in. They paid him for the next 10, 11 years at a very high rate for a 21-year-old shortstop. Wait, what? 10 years, $340 million or something like that, or 400 something. I mean, shouts out to them.
Yeah, I mean it's it's a really dirty game because basically you just want to prevent these kids from making as much money as they can, right? It's like the service time thing. It's like you want to get another year of their prime to keep them from making another year of top money, you know?
Yeah.
And you have a bunch of I mean, it's not a good look when you have a bunch of multimillionaires fighting about money, but whenever you have these kids who are some of the best players in the world playing for $1.5 million, no,
Not
that's
even that. Like,
garbage.
there's a lot of guys who are like, and like, unless they
When
were a first round pick and they got that big bonus, like, you're playing your second year in the major leagues at like $600,000 a year.
yeah,
That is, I mean, you could be like a top 12 player in baseball making 12th man on the NBA bench money. Maybe,
yeah.
maybe
Well,
that.
not only that, it's like you have like Russell Westbrook making over $500,000 a game, right?
Yeah,
It's like you have a top, like the year Blake Snell won the Cy Young, dude was pitching for legitimately 12 grand to start.
yeah, mind blowing.
I mean, that's so garbage.
And
They got
it's not going to
it.
change unless they
It's gonna
demand.
be it's gonna be ugly this winter, dude. I don't see any way there's not a lockout.
Everybody's all nice and happy and they get everything done. That's
No,
simple enough.
no,
Yeah, it's not going to happen. Baseball is
no.
probably the stingiest sport there is. But
So
I mean, obviously, you always hope the guys get their money, but they also got to be able to. They got to. It's got to be fair from both parties because, like, a player can't. I guess baseball contracts are guaranteed, so if you do sign somebody to a big contract, they are going to get that money.
yeah,
But yeah, like, don't waste 2 weeks of my career so you can get a year of it
and
back.
and really you can't. It's a double-edged sword, right? Because you have a lot of like teams bitch, or you have a lot of players bitching about, well, teams aren't willing to sign free agents and everything. It's like you can't ask for a salary floor without there being a salary cap.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're going to get one, you have to give up the other. You know what I mean? No owner is going to be like, oh yeah, I will spend minimum this amount of money with no maximum. You know?
yeah. Because
So
then, I mean, that's just going to make the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Mets, probably the Padres now like, oh wow, now they've got even more of an advantage because you've got other
yeah,
teams paying one person $40 million to reach the floor, while they're sitting here paying everybody that kind of money because they
yeah.
can afford it. And
And really, I mean, if they did add a salary cap, there would be a lot more parity. And really, there's been a ton of parity in the MLB already. I mean, the last team to repeat was what? The Yankees 20 years ago,
yeah,
you know? So, and then like you take all these massive contracts that both the Yankees, the Padres, the Dodgers, like the Red Sox. I mean, you take all these and then you spread them out to the Royals, the Mariners, the Brewers. You know, you would really see a lot of I don't know. You'd see a lot of these smaller teams win World Series, but I don't see it happening. Um, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting this winter, though. It's gonna be very interesting for sure.
yeah. God, it's tough. I hate that's like the big thing with like leagues like that is where it's the owners basically get final say, and it makes it so much harder on the player. Oh, well, the players, they don't deserve to talk shit because they're playing a game for this much money. Yeah, but like they're also being basically held hostage by ownership and are forced to play on certain like there's certain rules that they can't break, and the owner gets to manipulate it however they want. And I mean, there's just so many ways that it doesn't benefit the players to where, like, I mean, they had like it was just now this year where they changed the minor league system to where they're officially like partners of the MLB, and those clubs can afford to pay a AAA player more than $8,000 a month or whatever it was.
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah,
minor league players are playing like they're picking up like second and third jobs in the off season.
yeah,
Unless you're a first round pick and you get like a $5 million signing bonus, you're not making any money for like the first 3 or 4 years of your career. And
yeah,
that's assuming you make it to the bigs. And even if you don't, you're not making anything, and you're
yeah,
playing baseball for pennies.
yeah,
Which, I mean, feel with that as you will, but they got to figure something out.
yeah. No, it's there's a lot to talk about there, and Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting, but we touched on hockey earlier. The Leafs, number one team in the league right now, absolutely killing the North. They're going to make the playoffs. They're probably going to one seed the North bracket. The Leafs, they're the only Canadian team with a chance at the Cup this year, and being a Leafs fan, I don't feel good. I think they probably lose in the first round again. A lot of good teams. Colorado's real good. Vegas is good. Tampa Bay could repeat. Boston could go on another run. St. Louis could get hot. I mean, there's a lot of good teams in the NHL this year. So that's something. Yeah, I mean, if the Rangers get hot, they can get the 4th seed out of the East, but I don't see them doing it. But I don't know. It's going to be real fun coming down the stretch. I think they're halfway through their season, or they're getting close to halfway. Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. Looking forward to that, seeing how that works out. This weekend we had a big UFC card, 3 title fights. I'm just going to get this one out of the way. Peter Yan, Aljamain Sterling. I had Sterling winning that fight going in. First round looked pretty good. Sterling, I mean, he was frantic, using a lot of energy, throwing a lot of spinning shit. Thought he won the first round. Peter Yan came out, just wore down Sterling. Just a lot of body shots, a lot of head hunting. Knocked him down in the first, actually. Peter Yan won the second. Third round, Sterling sucking air. Just, I mean, looked like me on a basketball court. Just gassed. He lost the third. And then in the fourth, this is what everyone's going to remember. The first time in major mixed martial arts history, a title changes hands on a DQ. Peter Yan, I mean, Sterling is on his knees in front of him, and the guy just grabs his head and just knees him into the next day. That's highly illegal here in the States. That is a DQ. Aljamain Sterling is your new champion of the world at bantamweight. What pisses me off about that fight, it took 3 licensed people. It took a licensed fighter not knowing the rules. It took a licensed cornerman telling the fighter to break the rules, and it took a licensed referee to be like, no, let's give him a moment here to regroup. The doctor is in there saying, hey, don't move, and the ref is like, no, we're gonna give you a minute to see if you want to keep fighting. So Aljamain Sterling looks like a pussy now, looking like he quit, looking like he took the easy way out to win a world title. Dude was concussed upon impact. The guy tried to get up, stumbled over. At that moment, it should have been waved. It should have been waved off the moment the knee connected. That's when it should have been over. As soon as he tried to get up and stumbled, that's it. Don't let him lay down there on the ground and try to get his wits about him, because then it looks like he's kind of flopping around. Dude doesn't know where he's at, okay? The guy just had his skull cracked, and you're going to see if he's one to no. First off, we talked about this off air. The moment that strike lands, it's a completely different fight, right? I mean, you're sitting there, you're trying to shake up the cobwebs for the remainder of the fight. You can't take away enough points. I mean, unless you're going to make it a 10-5 round where basically Peter Yan has to knock out Aljamain Sterling in the 5th to retain his title, that's the only way, really, you can justify that fight continuing. But at the same token, if you send Peter Yan and Aljamain Sterling out there for the 5th, Peter Yan just took years, literally years off of Jose Aldo's career and life in the 5th round of their Yan's last fight. He had just almost killed Aljamain Sterling with a clean knee that Sterling wasn't expecting because it's illegal. Wasn't expecting. He gets hit clean, gets knocked over. He's concussed. Who's to say he takes another 3 to 5 minutes of that kind of damage? That guy might still be in the hospital today in a coma.
Yeah.
If you're going to be about fighter safety, as soon as that blatantly illegal knee, save the fighter from himself. Don't let the fighter make the decision, because the fighter is always going to want to look tough. He's always going to want to look like a champ. He's always going to want to look like a man. And he's going to be like, oh, no, I'm good. Just give me a second. And then you're going to have a dog shit visual like we had on Saturday night with Sterling laying in the middle saying, oh, well, you know, I'm a little dizzy, but it's better when I'm laying on my back. It's like, yeah, no shit. You just damn near got killed. Okay?
Yeah.
It makes sense as to why you're feeling a little woozy right now. Did you not see the replay?
Yeah, it's like I understand why you feel better laying down, because you can't move. You cannot stand. You need to be
you need to seek
incapacitated.
medical attention right now. And there was only one adult. There was only one adult in that situation the entire night, or that in that entire situation. It was the ringside doc. Ringside doc, even this kind of pissed me off a little bit. The ringside doc comes in and he's like, "How's this guy doing?" And I mean, obviously, this guy is not going to continue. Get him some medical treatment right then, because you don't know if he's got a brain bleed. I mean, the guy just got cracked at point blank range with an illegal strike. Like, no. The only thing worse is a soccer kick. I mean, it was the most egregiously illegal knee I've ever seen in mixed martial arts. So the doctor even takes a few moments and is like, after like a minute and a half, where Rogan and Anik and everybody's saying, yeah, this should be called. It's like, call it immediately. Don't make the fighter look bad. The guy who's the world champion should know not to throw a fucking knee to a downed opponent. Like, no, it pissed me off. Aljamain Sterling's the new champion, rightfully so. I think you need to go back to 1930 between Jack Sharpie and Max Schmeling to find the last time a boxing world title changed hands on a DQ, and that was an illegal punch. I think Sharkey hit Schmeling with a low blow, and they had to call the fight in the fourth. The last time the boxing title changed, I mean, if that's different, correct me. Whatever. But you don't see it very often. When you do, it makes headlines. It's the first time it's ever happened in a title fight. It might be the most heartbreaking way to lose a title. It is definitely the worst way to win one. Because Sterling couldn't enjoy the moment at all.
Yeah.
Everyone says he's a quitter. Everyone says he takes the easy way out. It's like, no. That guy's the rightful world champion.
Yeah, and he also couldn't enjoy it because he just simply wasn't there. Like,
no. And they made him do a fucking interview after he gets out of the cage.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't interview knocked out fighters because they don't know what they're saying, right? They shouldn't be held responsible for what they say after they just get knocked out. All right? That pisses me off to no end. It's unfair to the fighter. It really it ruffles my feathers, dude. It
right.
Just,
and you'll get people who are like, oh, that's what comes with the territory, and like that's part of the of combat fighting. It's like, I mean, technically, yeah, but no.
If you're on the streets, that's completely legal. Anything goes on the street, right? This is a sanctioned sport by the state of Nevada. You can't gouge a person's eyes out. Why? Because there's nothing sport about that.
Yeah.
You can't fish hook a person. You can't do small joint manipulation, and you can't knee the guy in the face when he's defenseless on the ground. Okay? There's simple rules that you have to follow. And if you're going to, I mean, I don't know. It pisses me off. And here's another thing. Rogan said this on the broadcast, and this comes from pro wrestling. Okay, I'm as big of a pro wrestling fan as anybody. All right, anyone who knows me knows I've watched it all my life. I'm a giant fan. There's a rule in pro wrestling that you can't win the title on a DQ. That is a pro wrestling thing that goes back to the 30s, whenever they would go to different circuses in different parts of the country, and the world champion would get disqualified, so that way the guy in his hometown can get the rub, but the guy still walks to the next town with the world title. That's the only reason why there shouldn't be a DQ on a title change. There shouldn't be a title change on. That's the only reason why it exists, is because Vince McMahon and his family 70 fucking years ago made it a rule. Okay? It's a pro wrestling rule. It's not a sanctioned deal. Pro wrestling is entertainment. Okay, it's not a sport. I mean, if you want to say it's a sport, it's not a sanctioned sport. It's not a competition. All right. This is a competition. If you break the rules, you lose the fight, you lose your title. Okay?
Yeah.
And there's no reason why the other guy who followed the rules, who made the weight, who made the walk with his shirt off and fought in that cage, there's no reason why the belt shouldn't be wrapped around his waist. That's my 2 cents. And
I don't agree that if you break the rules, you lose the title because hey, Houston Astros.
and that's not, but it's like, you know, if you made that a rule where you can't lose the title on a DQ, in the 5th round of a fight you're losing 40-36, you would just kick
Do
the
some
guy in the
bullshit.
nuts as hard as you fucking can. The guy can't continue. Oh well, he got himself disqualified. He's now the world champ. It would be the most gimmicky bullshit. They would get called into Congress to testify due to the amount of money that would be switching hands at casinos. No, it would be the most rigged thing ever. No, bullshit. I hate it with a passion.
Yeah, if you don't want to lose the fight, if you don't want to lose the title, don't
Win fair and
disqualify
square.
yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
If
Exactly.
you're the champion, you know how to fight, you know what you're doing.
You know what the rules are. And if you don't know what the rules are, your corner should know what the rules are. The corner man's like Jan says to his corner in Russia, "Hey, can I knee him?" Okay, maybe he doesn't know the rules right there. You know, he is from Russia. You know that is part of Asia. Yada yada, whatever. The corner should know. Yeah, no, don't do that. You will lose your world title. And he's like, "No, that's good." Boom.
Brutal.
Trash. Absolutely trash. So they're probably going to run that back probably way too soon. I mean, Sterling should probably have 3 months off to recover because you don't get hit with that kind of a clean shot. That's the kind of shot that shortens your career, okay? Whenever guys get knocked out, it's because their chin gets, if your chin gets tested, it doesn't take as much for you to get knocked out the second time, right? It's why if you get knocked out once, you usually don't eat that kind of same shot ever again, right? It usually puts you to sleep again. Look at Alistair Overeem, look at Chuck Liddell, look at any boxer over the last 100 years. They're not the same after you get knocked out. You leave a piece of your soul in the ring or the octagon anytime you get knocked out. That guy he left a part of his soul. Aljamain Sterling, he left a part of his soul in the octagon in the 4th round on Saturday night.
Yeah.
Don't rush him back. I mean, it's bullshit. I hate it. I hate it for everyone involved. But them's the rules. Them's the rules.
Yeah. And then there was 2 other big fights.
Yep.
Right.
Amanda Nunes versus
I didn't
Megan
catch that
Anderson.
one. It was over before I even got to it. I was gonna
So
watch that one.
let me talk about this too, because I got a rant about this one. They need to shut down the women's featherweight division yesterday. Okay, that division is the thinnest division in all of mixed martial arts. Okay, the thing is that there's not enough 145-pound women to make that a division. The division was created solely for Chris Cyborg because she couldn't make 135 pounds, and so whenever she makes 145, she becomes world champion. The only person that would even accept the fight with her was the 135-pound champion, Amanda Nunes. It was the only fight to make. Amanda goes out there, knocks her out in the first minute. And now it doesn't matter who you put in there. Amanda is just starching these women in a minute or less, right? I mean, the talent gap is, I mean, you have a trained killer fighting grocery baggers, okay? It's unsafe. I mean, as a commission, it doesn't matter if there's a title on it or not. You can't be putting fighter A with a skill level of an A with the number one contender who's got the skill level of a C minus. You can't do it.
Yeah.
You're going to get people killed. And in women's featherweight, all it takes is one win and you get a title shot because there's nobody in the division.
Yeah.
And so you get these women who are vastly underqualified to be fighting Amanda Nunes for a world title, fighting Amanda Nunes for a world title. And what do you get? You get these just bulldozing performances where these girls get hurt. Okay? It's not like they're getting choked out. They're getting punched, they're getting kicked, they're getting starched, they're getting embarrassed, they're getting humiliated. Shut the division down. She's the 135-pound champion. there's nobody at 135 who's going to touch her either.
Yeah.
I mean, she's beaten Ronda Rousey. She's beat Holly Holm a couple of times, if I recall correctly. She's beat Misha Tate. Who are you putting in there with her?
Like, she's legitimately one of the... I mean, she's the best fighter in the world right now, I would argue. Like,
yeah.
There's no competition. And, like, yeah, it sucks for her because she's also not getting tested.
No.
She's just beating the shit out of everybody.
Yeah, and you can honestly make the case, and this is no bullshit, she is the most dominant mixed martial artist ever.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people want to say Khabib. That's a very good pick. Khabib in his career has lost 2 rounds. He lost the third to McGregor, and he lost the first to Gaethje. That's the only 2 rounds he's ever lost. You can't name me a round Amanda Nunes has lost.
Yeah.
She doesn't. I mean, her fights don't get out of the first.
Yeah, and if she wins the fight, well, guess what? She won the round. So,
I tell you, dude, like, it's becoming unsafe to put her in there with people just because she's just so much better, and she's going out there and she's hurting these girls. I mean, if you get choked out, that's fine. Like, a choke's not going to, like, shorten your life. You taking 10 to 15 really hard punches and kicks to this general area, you're going to have trouble speaking to your grandkids in 40 years, okay? Yeah. Like, shut down 145, 135. If you want to just keep murdering girls there too, that's fine. But, like, man, she is just so much better. She would beat some of the guys at 135 and 145. Like, and this isn't Ronda Rousey, like Floyd Mayweather, like who would win that? Like, no. Amanda's got top level boxing and top level kickboxing. She can do Muay Thai and she can do jiu-jitsu. You want to try to take her down and wrestle? She can defend a takedown too.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of guys. Well, maybe not a lot, but there are definitely some guys who would have trouble with Amanda Nunes. Like, Ronda Rousey, whenever they were having that conversation with her, she was a judo specialist. She was tapping girls out with the same move, the arm bar, in the first round of all of her fights. That's cute, but when you need to get into a stand-up fight, she's been in 2 stand-up fights her entire life. Holly Holm knocked her the fuck out, and then Amanda Nunes starched her in 45 seconds.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I mean... So, shut down women's featherweight. I mean, yeah. I don't even know what to say, man. That's my rant on that. My blood pressure is going up thinking about it. Title fight. Main event. Trying to become double champ. Israel Adesanya trying to become middleweight and light heavyweight champ against the light heavyweight champ, Jan Blachowicz. I have Jan Blachowicz winning this fight going into it. The only reason I predicted that is because Israel Adesanya came in so far underweight that I knew he was going to have trouble going deep into that fight. Adesanya, he had said earlier in the week that he was going to come in as little as 193 for a fight that's at 205. Okay? Keep in mind, Blachowicz cuts to 205. So he fought on Saturday night at maybe 222, 223, and Adesanya stepped onto the scale full sweatsuit, sweatpants, shoes, pizza box, 200.5 pounds.
Yeah.
Just too small. Too small. And the problem is that once Jan gets you up against the cage and he can just put that weight on you, your gas tank goes down because you have to keep that body weight up. You're going to be expending a lot of energy. We saw it in the 4th and 5th. Once Jan took him down, Adesanya couldn't get up.
Yeah.
I mean... And
he was trying, and there was no escape. He was trying to push off the hips, wasn't working.
No, and the problem is, I mean, with him being so light, his only way to really win that fight was to knock him out early. I mean, he had to really starch him pretty quickly, or else the gas tank was going to be a very big issue. The problem with fighting someone who's at 222 pounds is that the same punches that knock out a guy who's 185 aren't going to knock out the guy who's 222.
Yeah.
The guy, I mean, they're just bigger, they're stronger. You know, you're going to have a different kind of pop. And that's the reason why these double champs, it's rare. I mean, you just can't do it. to everybody. And so, and Izzy looked pretty cautious to me on Saturday night. He
Yeah.
wasn't he wasn't throwing like the same smooth 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4 combinations. I mean, his kicks were they weren't sharp. It looked like he was scared of getting countered, and as a result, he lost that fight pretty convincingly. I had it 48-47 Blachowicz. I thought Blachowicz won the first, and I thought he won the fourth and fifth clearly. Some of the judges had the fifth round as a 10-8, and it's just so hard to win a title fight if there's a 10-8 round. So
that fight reminded me a lot of Adesanya's title defense a couple months ago. I can't remember who it was.
Against Romero, wasn't it?
Yeah. Because it was boring.
Slow, not a lot of action.
Because Adesanya wasn't going to do anything to lose his title, and Romero did enough to earn it, and that was the exact same. It struck me the same way as Adesanya. If he wanted to take that title, he had to go out there and dominate.
Yeah, he had to risk. He had to take some risks.
And he did. He came out. He started to a little bit, but he, like you said, he just wasn't stringing anything together. No. It was very cautious and very just like it was just passive, and it cost him.
If I was Adesanya's coach, what I would have been like, all right, so we're going to be giving up 25 pounds right now. So what we need to do is we need to chop him down early. I would have been doing low calf kicks. The calf kicks are a lot harder to block than the kicks that land up closer to the knee and the thigh. Just because basically with those kind of kicks, if you try to kick up higher, if the guy turns his leg out, you could snap your leg like Silva did against Weidman years ago.
Yeah.
The calf kick, it's a little harder to defend because even if you don't land it square, you're still wrapping around and you're going to be impeding that movement. If you can deaden that nerve, we saw it against Conor and Poirier. Poirier hit the low calf kick so many times that Conor just couldn't move. He couldn't put weight on the front foot. He didn't have any power in his shots. And eventually, he just got put up against the fence and knocked out. If I'm Adesanya, that would have been my game plan. I would have went for the low calf kick. I would have tried to impede his movement. Not only does it help with not having much power on his punches, it would have made the takedown attempt a lot easier to telegraph. So I think it was a blunder on the game plan. Of course, everyone has a game plan until they get punched in the face. Blachowicz has serious power. He knocked out Dominic Reyes, who arguably in my opinion, he did beat John Jones. That's good on Blachowicz. Blachowicz, it's kind of funny. The guy fucked up maybe $100 million fight for Dana White in the UFC. Because if Israel Adesanya wins that fight, the next words that come out of his mouth in the post-fight interview is John Jones, where are you at? You know?
Yeah.
That fight is $100 million fight for the UFC. Dana would be salivating to promote it. John Jones, granted, if you have seen a photo of John Jones, he's back on the juice, back on the picograms. He's not making 205, guys. Let's be real. Okay, he's not cutting back to 205. But yeah, I think that just scrapped any plans of Izzy versus John. Izzy's still the champ at 185. He's going to have some competition down there. He's not going to be able to call his shot as much per se coming off the loss. He's going to fight either Whitaker or Darren Till. So yeah, I mean, let's see what happens. I mean, Adesanya, he dared to be great. And sometimes you're going to take an L. I mean, we saw it with Max Holloway. We saw it with TJ Dillashaw. Although TJ Dillashaw was using EPO and still got knocked out by Cejudo in the first. So, let's keep it a buck. But, I just shouts out to Adesanya for taking the chance. But, sometimes it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
And really, and honestly, I might catch some flack for saying this. Going from middleweight to light heavyweight to win 2 belts might be the hardest 2 weight divisions to do so in. Now, when DC did it, he did it from light heavyweight to heavyweight, but think about it like this. Unless you have a heavyweight that is cutting like Francis Ngannou to get down to heavyweight, there's not going to be a 20, 30-pound difference there, right? I mean, you can weigh in at 230. The guy you're fighting might weigh in at, 250. But neither one of you guys had to cut, right? So unless you're going to be fighting at 230 and the guy's cutting to make 265, I mean, you're jumping up 20 pounds to fight a guy who's cutting 20 pounds. I mean, it's tough. That's a tough one. So
just kick their ass. It's that simple.
I mean, you would think so. Got a lot of exciting fights this month. We have Francis Ngannou, Stipe Miocic 2. Ngannou, his last 4 fights have lasted a total combined time of 1/2 round. If he could land another power shot on Stipe's chin, Stipe's been knocked out since the last time they fought. DC hit him clean with the right hook, put Stipe down. That's how he won the world title that night. If Stipe gets hit with another one of those power left hooks from Ngannou, I don't know if he survives it. Ngannou versus Jones, that would be a fire matchup to make this summer, but we'll see what happens. You got Leon Edwards, Bilal Muhammad this weekend. I don't know, a lot of exciting stuff coming up in UFC.
Hell yeah. I don't. We'll have to check. I don't know the schedule next week. Got to watch more. It was nice to watch them this week. I haven't watched the last few cards.
Yeah,
really even kept up with them.
Really, there's been a lot of good boxing cards and a lot of good UFC cards lately. A couple weekends ago, Canelo fought Avni Yildirim for the super middleweight belt, and Canelo this year is going to try to go undisputed at 168. And the only reason Yildirim was fighting him is because he was in the mandatory. Most disrespectful thing I've ever seen in my life. If you haven't gotten a chance to see this, go look it up. Yildirim gets his entrance. It's at Hard Rock Stadium down in Miami, right? Yildirim gets his entrance first. And basically his entrance consists of his name on the screen, no music, and he walks down to the ring. It's like a jobber on Saturday morning wrestling. Guy gets no introduction. You already know what the outcome is going to be. Then Canelo comes out. He gets this minute-long video package. He gets this full concert, this song and dance, the fireworks all over the stadium. Most disrespectful thing ever, because Yildirim's just sitting in the ring damn, I didn't get any of that. If you haven't seen it, go look it up. It's funny as hell. Well worth your time. Canelo knocked him out in the third. I don't even know if he got touched. Canelo is, I think he's the second best boxer on the planet. He very well may be the first. He's going to have a great year this year. If he goes undisputed, there's not going to be a chance that anyone else wins Fighter of the Year. The only other way someone may win Fighter of the Year is if Jose Ramirez or Josh Taylor gets co-Fighter of the Year for their undisputed title fight at 140 here in April. Just what do you do? Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua, they've been jerking each other off, trying to see who's going to get what percentage of money for their undisputed title fight at heavyweight. That's the biggest fight boxing can make right now. So hopefully they can get that figured out. I don't know. It's an exciting time though, man. Very exciting.
Hell yeah. Now we got everything now. It feels kind of more normal than it did this time last year. Well,
very much so.
A lot more than this time last year.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of everything being full capacity, or even having fans in the stadium at all. But they're not going to change. I'm not going to go back on that. But hey, sports are back. Man United just beat Man City yesterday. Yeah, yesterday.
Ooh.
Big time. Soccer's back. We're rolling, baby. Got AC Milan on Thursday. Big old game here. Love me some soccer. Yeah, I think the NBA starts up on Thursday. Not excited for that at all. Yeah, other than that, I mean, there's really a lot of nothing, but a lot of something. You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying.
You'll get by. You'll like what you can get. And soon enough, we're back in action. I mean, you're about to get the smoke in some 18 rounds or 18 holes, whatever. I don't know, golf talk.
Yeah.
Not the best there is.
Hopefully we can get it to work out.
Yes, sir. Got
So,
to. Other than that, keep it rolling, keep it moving.
Hey guys, it's good to be back. Excited. We took a little bit of time off, but we got a lot of exciting stuff coming up now. So tune in next week. We'll have more details on our bracket contest, how you can enter, what you can win, and we'll have a full college basketball show next week. We'll go through our picks here on the show, talk about our favorite matchups, and we'll go from there. So
yeah, full bracket breakdown.
So join us next week, and until then, be safe, guys.
Yes, sir. Look forward to kicking your guys' ass. But yeah, sounds good. Peace out, fellas.
Take it
Be
easy,
back
guys.
next week. Hopefully, keep on rolling.
Tell your friends the ATL podcast is back.
Yeah. Tell everybody. Tell the neighborhood.
Oh,
All right, fellas.
All right. Peace
Catch
out.
you next time. Peace out.